And we are back to Community Conversations with the trio, Dr. G, Sean D, and my main man, Michael Dove. Community Conversations where all conversations are on the table, and we are excited. Really, we are excited. Sean, we might have to give him a little raise.
I know, Sean is impressive. Sean is the man.
Able to go.
He just gets on the phone and say, hey, I'm Sean D.
I trapped her in there. She was stuck in a room one time, so just trapped her in there.
Well, let's hear.
That was not a trap.
Let's get her in on this conversation. MaryEllen Elia, the superintendent of the Hillsborough County Public Schools. Thank you so much for being here.
Welcome.
On Community Conversations. It's a pleasure. How are you?
I'm very well.
Good.
And just so I can respond, I was fine when I knew Sean was the person, but when I came back into this room and I saw Mean Man Michael and Dr. G, I thought, okay, what am I in for? Then I saw your faces and recognized you. So it's great to be here with you today.
Yep, wonderful. We appreciate you being here. So let's just start off with a very basic question. The state of academics at the Hillsborough County Public Schools. How are we doing academically?
Well, I think it's important to put this all in perspective. We are the 8th largest school system in the nation, and we have about almost 200,000 students, and that's about 250 school sites. And I think there's some real highlights. And I think there's certainly some areas that we can identify that we all know as a community we have to grow in.
Sure.
Some of the things that I think we're doing very well with, many of our high schools. In fact, we're going to see our high school grades coming out in the next few weeks. Our high schools are doing very well. They've improved. Many of them improved to the point all of our high schools are A, B's, or C's. The majority of them are A's and B schools in Florida. And Florida's accountability system is it's very demanding. So we're very pleased with that. We have a graduation rate, and the graduation rate changes how they calculate it multiple times over the last, say, 10 years. But our graduation rate right now, 84.3% for the large districts in Florida. Now, that will be shifting because the federal graduation rate is just coming out now, and that's a new way to calculate, and it doesn't include certain graduates. But we're pretty pleased with what we're doing with that. We got, of course, the first question you have to ask is, okay, so where are the other kids? What are those other, 16%? What are they doing, and why haven't they graduated? But that I think it's all got to be compared to how other districts in the state of Florida and in the nation are doing. Many of our high schools, all of our 27 high schools made the Washington Post list of most challenging high schools in the nation. We're really proud of that. And 2 of our magnet high schools, Robinson High School and Tampa Bay Tech, have been ranked in the top 100 best magnet schools in the nation.
Wow.
So good about that.
That's in the nation.
Yes. Our national merits semifinalists, we have 62 this year. We think it's the highest in the state of Florida, and that's up from 43 last year.
Wow.
So 62. And our national achievement scholars, we have the most African-American national achievement scholars in the state with 19.
Wow.
So are there pockets of things that we can say, we're doing well, and this is a judgment that is beyond just what we say, it's compared nationally? I think we have some highlights.
Absolutely.
We have some growth. We have some areas that we need to make sure that we address, and one of those areas is our African-American males. The academic achievement of African-American males has to be a high priority for us. And it's not in the context of the fact that we aren't working very hard on it, but it needs to become much more of a community issue. I know where I've met both of you and Michael and Sean is at a group that we're putting together of community activists who want to address these issues in our schools with us as community members, because our schools and our teachers are focusing. We're trying to move people academically all of our kids from the very, very earliest that they're involved with school. But they aren't with us as long as we would need to have that focus. So,
and trust me, as a parent, I would love for them to be with you longer. I mean, keep the doors open. My kids will be there.
So make sure they're there.
And I will tell you, I mean, one of the big issues for us is can we extend the day? And we have extended the day. In fact, 3 years ago, we extended the day up until 5 o'clock at 3 of our elementary schools where we really felt we needed to focus more time.
Wow.
And at those 3 schools, that was Just Elementary, Booker T. Washington, and Potter Elementary, those 3 schools, we saw real growth. Now, they're not where they need to be yet, but they're really moving that direction. And we've seen some community partners step up to the plate and really work hard with us. This past year, that was extended. The Florida legislature required that schools that were not having the appropriate reading scores in their 3rd grade scores in elementary would extend their day. We added then to some of our schools that extended day. So we have 7 more, up to, actually I think there's 6 more, that we put on that longer extended day. So that helps some, but think about it. Kids walk out of our schools at 4:30 or 5, even in those extended days, that's the hours, and then they get home, and if there isn't like discussion and talking with them to build their vocabulary, if there isn't a focus on what's happening and reading and talk, I mean, you can be watching TV with your child, but to talk about what's happening so that they think about things and not just sit there without really involving themselves. I think it's important to look at what we can do. So we've got some highlights. We have some great things happening, but we have some areas we have to grow, and I challenge this group. And, of course, Michael and Sean know I've been very vocal about that. We need help, and we need your help.
So if you're just tuning in, we are here with MaryEllen Elia, the superintendent of the Hillsborough County Public Schools. We'd love for you to call in if you have questions for the superintendent at 813-636-8255. If you are out of the area, 877-897-8255.
Wow. I'm a proud graduate of King High School here in the Tampa Bay area. So I'm a living example of how wonderful the school system is here. Aren't I?
I was going to say that when I walked in.
No comment.
All can't be helped. That's all I'm saying. Everyone can't be helped. But Superintendent Elliott, you talk about the work, just the gains that have been made in the school system. Is that something that that is replicated or can be replicated in other areas? Because we've got I know you're Hillsborough, but we got right next door at Pinellas that is struggling. We talk about the African American male and agree a lot of work still needs to be done here in Hillsborough, but what is that Pinellas relationship there as well with their school system and some of the work that has been successful here? Does that translate, or how does that even get connected at all?
Well, I think it absolutely does. We're doing things now, and let me give you an example. There are some very important national reform movements that are going to be part of the reality in Florida. We're already in the process of putting Common Core state standards in place. The good thing about the Common Core is that it's going to be in every one of the states that have accepted it, and that's over 45 states in the nation have accepted the Common Core. And they're going to institute that as the baseline for their academic programs. So it's not a national curriculum, but it is standards that will be in place that everyone will follow. And the important thing is the assessments will be aligned with Common Core, and they'll be the same assessments. So we take the FCAT here in Florida, in both Pinellas and in Hillsborough, and all over the state. But now, when Common Core gets introduced, though the FCAT will go away, and the new PARCC assessments will go into place that are aligned with the Common Core standards. What that will tell you is if I'm in Georgia, my students in 4th grade in Georgia took the same test that the students in 4th grade in Hillsborough took.
Oh, wow.
So all of a sudden, we'll really have some comparisons.
You'll see how much better we are than Georgia.
See, absolutely. I'm telling you right now, I'm looking for that.
I want to compare Georgia and Connecticut scores as soon as we get that.
So easy. So so you mentioned PARC, PARCC. For those who are listening and they want to get more information, what is PARCC? What?
It's the group of states that have come together to put these assessments that match the Common Core assessments, put them together. There's 2 different testing groups. One of them is called PARC, and the other one is called, I can't think of it.
Okay. But it's not the one
Florida's not in it.
Yeah,
so
we're not on that other one.
Okay.
It's not the one we're going to be taking.
Okay.
So PARC assessments are a group of probably, I think it's 27 states that have agreed to give that same test. And this is an important thing. So, we all say America, to be competitive in the global economy, has to move their education system. You were talking about politics before. And, I think it is absolutely a critical thing when you're talking about education to align what the political entities that are in place are going to do to support education. Mm-hmm. Because we can say we want more jobs, we can say, we want all these things. However, we have to have the associated funding to get there.
All right. So, Susan, we've got you on hold. Don't go away because we'll come right back to you, Susan. All right, we'll be back.
Now more with Dr. G, Sean D, and main man Michael Dove. Community Conversations on 1250 WINS, WHNZ.
And we are back. Our conversation with the superintendent of the Hillsborough County Public Schools, MaryEllen Elia. And before we took that short break, we have Susan is on the line from Tampa, and she has a question for the superintendent. Susan, thanks for joining us. Susan?
Hello?
Are you there, Susan?
Yes, now I'm here.
Okay. You have a question for the superintendent?
Yes. I want to see if the superintendent can talk on about 2 things. One, the success of the advanced placement in Hillsborough compared to the other counties, and 2, the safety of the students regarding, when in this lockdown, as well as the safety of other students in the school district. What is the process, and what's been the work on that?
Okay, so what is the success of advanced placement, and then the kind of the protection of students?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, advanced placement is a huge thing for us, because advanced placement courses are courses that have a common curriculum nationally and a external exam, so that our teachers teach the content that's required, and then. Mm-hmm. And then our students take the exam at the end of that year. So if you're looking at advanced placement in Hillsborough, we have increased our advanced placement by in 2006 we had about 15,000 students taking advanced placement, and right now we have about 33,000 students taking advanced placement courses. What that does is raise the level of academics across the board, and we have students taking them in 9th through 12th grade. Now, how are we doing? Well, in the last 3 years, even with that increase in the number of students that are taking advanced placement, we have increased the overall scoring, the average score of our students. So right now, about 42 to 43% of our students are getting the 3 or above. They're graded on a 5-point scale. You have to get a 3, 4, or 5 for it to be counted for college, so that it would waive college requirements depending on the school that the student is going to when they go to college. But what is really critical is that exposing students to that higher level coursework, research indicates that they have a 26% higher probability of staying in college and finishing. And that's a huge push for students. Once they leave high school, they get in college, there's many students that don't complete. But students who have had experience with higher demanding coursework have a better chance of completing. So we've increased by over 100% the number of students taking. That includes our minority students and our students who would not traditionally have been in advanced placement classes. And by doing that, we have put students in a better position to be ready to do college-level coursework. So we're really proud of the work that's been done in advanced placement. We continue to do that. So another area that I think is really important related to advanced placement is the issue of industry certifications. So a student in high school can get certified in an industry that, again, it's an external exam that says this student knows what they need to know to be able to go out and use this certification in an industry. So one of the things we've done is we've expanded that from incredible numbers from 12 4 years ago to over 1,500 last year, and we think it's above 2,000 this year. So we don't have that back yet. So we're really putting a push on getting students ready, not only for a college if they want to go to college in the higher level coursework, but also so that they can leave our schools and have an industry certification. Many kids do that, and then once they have that, they can work and have a means of helping themselves get through college. Well, we're working really closely with Hillsborough Community College. So we have a clear articulation to the community college and those industry clusters, and it's really helpful for them. Yeah. Now, the other question that you asked about had to do with safety in our schools. You know, I mentioned when I first began speaking that, you know, we have 250 schools with 27 high schools and 48 middle schools. And I think one of the big issues for us is that we have rules, and we expect our students and our families to support those rules that relate to safety. And we need to keep a focus on the safety of our schools. We have recently had a tragedy that had to do with a student in one of our schools, and we have to look at, and we are in the process of doing a full review of everything that occurred at that in that situation, but also look at what we need to do to make sure that everybody understands exactly what we need to do to keep all of our students safe. And it is a major focus. Our school board has established that as one of their chief goals, and we know how important it is so that our students are safe. We do lockdowns. We do lockdowns in a school, close the doors, students stay where they are. We don't change classes until we accept that we are back into a situation where we feel it's safe for all of our students to do that. So there are many things in place to support that, and we have to just continually be reviewing those and supporting that.
Excellent.
Well, and that's great. And I mean, there's plenty of situations of safety, and who doesn't want their kids to be safe, right? So, and Absolutely. As administrators, I would suspect that would be part of the equation of it's something you want to happen, and you try to put as many things in place so that students are safe. But with the we were talking about earlier. Going back on the academic side, talking about the academics of with the Common Core standards, and I think part of even safety was talking about the training of teachers, right? Mm-hmm. So the training from both the academic as well as the personal, and I know what a couple of issues that were going on before. Questions were, how come teachers didn't? A teacher knew someone was potentially going to harm others or be harmful to themselves. How come they didn't bring that up to a counselor or someone else? And why didn't the school do so many things, and so on and so forth? So there's a lot that is of emphasis that's placed on the teachers to know what to do Whereas, maybe we as individuals and sometimes as parents, we don't even see all the signs and so on and so forth. But there's a long shift of training that comes along with with what you're doing.
Well, clearly in academics, Hillsborough is right in one of the leaders nationally in the focus on supporting and training for teachers in academics. In the whole equation of academic success, the most important thing is the teacher. They are the ones that will move students academically towards success. They challenge students to work their hardest. Parents support that, but teachers in the classroom are absolutely critical. We have established an Empowering Effective Teachers agenda in our district. It aligns with the state's recent legislation, Senate Bill 736, which requires teacher evaluations and is really a focus on having the best teacher in the front of every classroom in the state. But Hillsborough was involved in that before. We've been very, very proactive with it and been in collaboration with our teachers' union. So our union has, from the very beginning, been part of it. We wrote a grant in 2009 to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and we were funded for the largest foundation grant that's ever been given to a public school system, $100 million over a 7-year period.
Wow.
And the focus of that is what we can do to recruit, retain, evaluate, and support teachers so that ultimately everyone is in a continuous improvement mode to get better, be great in front of every classroom. And we think that is really going to be the biggest issue.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
100 million?
100 million.
Wow.
I know how that could retain me.
Wow. Now, you mentioned teachers. What about principals?
Well, again, if you look at the research, teachers are saying the most important thing for me to make the decision to stay in a school, even if I'm working with a tough population of students who are having difficulty learning, the most important thing is that I have a great principal.
Yeah.
And again, Hillsborough wrote a grant to the Wallace Foundation, and we received a $12.5 million 5-year grant from the Wallace Foundation. And it is a focus on a principal's pipeline to better leadership.
Right.
And we are focusing now on all of our principals, both the full principals and assistant principals across the district, as well as our district leadership. So everyone is in a continuous improvement. Our teachers, under the Empowering Effective Teachers, and our principals.
All right. Wow. So before we let you get away, we have one more caller. We have Candy calling in from Tampa. Candy, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You have a question for the superintendent?
I do. How are you this morning, Superintendent?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Listen, I've heard that you are exploring the benefits of single-gender schools, all male and all female schools. I think there may be 2 in operation in Hillsborough County. Am I correct?
Yes, there's a female school at Farrell Middle School, and there is a male school at Franklin. Both of those schools are magnet schools, and people apply for them, and they're selected through a lottery. Anyone across the county is eligible to apply, and if they're accepted, then transportation is provided. So no one is required to go into a single-gender school, but they're all a choice option for people.
Okay, great. Could you speak a little bit about what are the benefits in relation to education for the same gender-based schools? And I'm going to hang up and just listen to you talk about what you think the educational benefits are of having same-sex schools. Okay?
Sure.
Thanks.
Well, I think that students learn in different ways. And so personality and the key things that they enjoy and the ways that they like to learn, I think those things are part of a student's personality, And some students would not ever want to apply to a single-gender school.
You ain't lying.
And other students and families say, I really think that this is great. And when they get there, they like that. And let me say one thing. We have, very often, we have females who don't see themselves as scientists and mathematicians. Right? And so if maybe one of the things that affects that is that in a classroom that has both genders, they don't see themselves pushing forward and being able to respond and answer questions and all, because maybe they think that gender specific male who's the better scientist or mathematician, that kind of overshadows them. In an all-female classroom, they have opportunities to see themselves as great scientists or to develop those interests. So I think that because we make that a choice option, it's not for everyone. If you don't want to do it, you would never put an application in. So it only is an option for people. I am a proponent of choice in schools. I think that there are some students that have things that they like. If I'm a kid that likes dinosaurs, I will read books about dinosaurs. I might not read anything else, but I'll read about dinosaurs. If I like math, if I like science, if I like the arts. And you can tap kids' interest and help them to be successful academically if you can tap those interests successfully. And I think choice is a great way to do that. And we are a district that has approximately 50,000 of our 200,000 students in some kind of choice option across this district.
Wow.
We're very proud of that, and we think it's a great option.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Superintendent. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Will you come back at some point and give us updates on all this wonderful, all the wonderful things that are going on? We have to have you back.
I absolutely would, and I'd love to be a regular for you.
All right.
You heard it. Said the
you
wrong
heard it
thing.
live.
I don't know,
it's
though.
recorded.
Mean man, Michael.
I think they changed your name. He's main man. He's supposed to be main man.
I don't know. It's on my mean man.
I like mean man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Superintendent Elia, what have you done to me?
Thank you so much for joining.
Before we finish, I challenge the 100 black men to become absolutely involved in our schools and working to make all of our students successful. We really have to together address this issue.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I will pass that along to the next president.
All right. All right. Hey,
Don't
guys.
think you're going anywhere, Sean.
Hey, I've already got Sandy mad at me. We are way past where we need to go. All right, Sandy.
Pays the bill.